Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'll start here today. Some of our colleagues today have questioned why we have these hearings, why we've continued to have these hearings, why we've done this more than once. And I think in the line of question and answer that we just heard, we were getting the answer to that loud and clear. And it's simple, because we have been requesting documents and subpoenaing documents and requesting information, and we still don't have it. If the documents responsive to the subpoenas had been provided, if the information responsive to the requests had been provided, we wouldn't be here. This hearing is only necessary because we do not have the responsive documents and information that have been requested of these agencies. I would like to start here with Ms. Nazdaroglu. On March 22nd, 2023, the committee wrote to GEC Special Envoy Rubin, requesting documents and information related to the nature and extent of the agency's interaction with technology companies and third-party groups over content moderation and the censorship of speech on social media and other platforms. This information was subsequently subpoenaed on May 22nd, 2023, and also the subject of discussion at a prior hearing of this subcommittee in July. To date, the State Department's production has been incomplete. The documents produced are limited to the work that the GEC has done to identify foreign mis- and disinformation promoted by various news outlets and platforms, as well as coordination with third-party fact-checkers. But we have less than 1,800 pages of non-publicly available documents, much of which is not wholly related to the underlying requests. So I'd like to start there. The committee's subpoena compels the production of multiple categories of documents. For example, the production of certain documents and communications between the GEC and third-party entities such as the Stanford University's Election Integrity Partnership, correct? Okay. We don't have any documents yet related to or communications with the EIP or Election Integrity Partnership, and the failure to produce those communications is particularly of interest to the committee. There are only a few known custodians, the time frame is known, and there shouldn't be any concern about privilege because this relates to a third-party entity. You noted in your opening testimony that the focus really was on foreign actors and not domestic, which of course is one of the key issues that we're trying to get to the bottom of, is what was the nature of this relationship and the why. So it would really add a lot of transparency to one of the core questions. So could you tell me why there hasn't been more information produced on that subject, and what timeline could we expect additional compliance there?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I will note that I personally review every tranche this subcommittee receives, and 7 tranches have been produced. So I can tell you several of those tranches did have information with third-party entities, because I have seen them myself. In terms of Stanford and others, I'm happy to get back to you, but just to say we have been producing responsive documents, and 1,900 pages of such have been provided to this committee. You referenced 1,800 pages that are not public. Just to point out, 1,800 out of the 1,900 are not public, so we are completely responsive. But on Stanford in particular, I'm happy to get back and see what we have.
Is it a reasonable goal for you all to provide those documents to us, those responsive documents, by December 14th?
So I have to say, as the Assistant Secretary for Legislative Affairs, it is my responsibility to be responsive to you all. And if I closed out this search at any point without knowing the full universe, that would not be adhering to my responsibility to be responsive. So I have to say, we're going to continue searching. We're going to continue providing documents to you all on a rolling basis. And I do not want to put a timeline on it, because we're going to continue providing what we see as we get it.
So your testimony with us today is that the efforts to continue to search and locate those documents is ongoing, and you'll be providing us a rolling production?
Yes.
Okay. So do we know to a certainty one way or the other where there are more documents, or is it something that further investigation and review is required to even make that determination?
I think we can confidently say, or I can confidently say, that there are more documents. Just to point out one example, there were 9 requests in the original letter that you referenced. One of them is all documents and communications from January 1st, 2020 to the present, referring or relating to misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation. These are broad scopes. We are working with your staff continually on prioritization, but yes, I think it's fair to say with a request like this, there are more documents out there.
Thank you. My time has expired. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.